Alright, today we're going to talk about chemicals I use around here in the shop. So these are my Loctites. I just got a bunch of new variations in. So here's my old standby stuff here. Not you. This one here. So I still can't find all my chemicals, but that's one in the box I can't find. It's another 290 back there. So basically I use a standard red and blue Loctite. I use my 290 Capillary action Loctite, which goes around, it's a wicking grade. So it goes around things that are already tightened up. It's real thin. So it goes into locked fasteners. So if you want to Loctite this nut on the shaft, you put a little bit on the here on the side here and around the thread here and a wick in there and lock it up. It goes for any bolt. So it also fills in holes and stuff. The other stuff I used to use was a sleeve retainer. Yeah, interrupted. Be back. Alright, pitfalls of having phones at work. So we got one ring phone call. I wasn't quick enough. Okay, back to where I was at. So anyway, I used 290 for the capillary action. I used the sleeve retainer, which was a 640 as I recall, for putting stuff that I don't want to move anymore on there, like on the flywheels, which I don't have anything laying around here, obviously. It'd be too easy. Use that on press-in bushings, like on the cases in here, if you want to go, if you got one that's kind of loose, something that's loose that you want to put in there, like a loose bearing or something, you can put that on there. Studs that you want to have inside cases that you don't ever want to come out again. You know, things like that, permanent applications. You know, obviously on the flywheels and the crank, you want all that stuff. So that's what I use that for. Then I had my standard red and blue, which was 242 and probably 341 or 2 or some stupid number. So anyway, so Loctite's pretty pricey, so I've been buying some of this Valco stuff here. So yeah, it's a lot cheaper, so I've been using that. It works. I don't use anything critical, just normal junk. And then I have some 3-bond, had their style lockered, which are little small bottles. That works good too. So I've used several different things over the years. But Loctite's always your #1 source for good stuff. Okay, so now, seeing I can't find all my chemicals anymore because they're all gone, who knows where the hell all that crap is. Somewhere in here, or elsewhere, out in the truck, who knows. So I had to buy some Loctites. So I went online and looking for Loctites and studying to see what's new out there. And they have all kinds of industrial grades of Loctite that I knew they had a bunch of weird junk, but didn't know what they were, how good they were. So these are all different ones. Yeah, I printed these out. It's hard to read, but oh well. So I found a bunch of different Loctites. So they do different things. So you got your standard green ones, and you got your standard blue ones, and your red one. There you go. So, so these two are the same. Somehow I screwed up and got the same one twice. Now, new bottle, old bottle. New, old. So, naturally this stuff's expensive, so I hunt around to find the cheapest price I can. And hopefully not find junk stuff that's not legit, you know, fake, copy crap. So, that's why I got an old bottle and a new bottle. Hopefully one of those two is original. Don't know. The new bottle, this is a 2022. This came out a year or two back. It's got Loctite put in the bottle. And it's got this weird lip going around it. They got a modern writing in here. They're supposed to have one of those stupid ass square looking codes for your cell phone that I don't have. That's on the very newest bottles. This one still doesn't have that. There's labels that tell you a lot like this one. And there's labels that have almost nothing like that. This looks fake, this looks real to me, but it might be the other way around. I don't know. I've seen them both ways, so who knows. So every one of these bottles here looks a little different. But, so these are new bottles, old bottle, new bottle, old bottle. So who knows. And this is real old bottle over here. Seems like the older the bottle, the more stuff they tell you. You know, so you can read it, see what it says. They actually tell you something. New bottles, they don't want to educate anybody. Just tell you, oh, it's thread locker. Okay, there you go. That's all you need to know. So, Notice I wrote stuff on the bottle, so I know the difference. Okay, so that's some stuff going on there. So basically, we have our standard red here, or not red, this is blue. So this is medium strength, high strength, and then you have thread locker, and you got retaining compounds. So retaining compounds are a lot more holding power than thread lockers. Didn't really know there was much of a difference. So like this 290 is a thread locker, even though it works good for holding bearing races inside of a case that are semi-press fit but loose. Or if you have inserts in the case that are ripped out. There's a casted steel insert in here. See, you got aluminum right here, steel here. So when that gets all loose, it gets a gap in there. You put the Loctite in there and it seeps in there and fills the void. And when your part's not loose, it doesn't leak. It stays tight. When it's moving around, it'll come out. So I use a lot of this over the years for fixing stuff like that. It's really good stuff. Okay, so these are new retaining compounds which have more fancy features. This is your standard thread locker. So technically that's a thread locker. Technically that's a thread locker. So these are all thread lockers. These are retaining compounds. So the new way of doing stuff now is what they're doing. You take, like, you want a sleeve that won't slide around on here. Or if you have some kind of a collar that goes on your dog that you don't want to weld anymore, you actually can use Loctite retaining compound on there, and it'll lock it together like, you know, a made piece, and it won't come apart. Well, they say it won't come apart. Me, I know it will come apart if I beat the tar of it like I do all my stuff. But anyway, new way of doing stuff is cheaper, quick, and easy, so it's not as good, but they say it is. So you have different holding compounds, temperatures, and stuff like that. We'll get into that. Okay, so here's your different Loctites. So this is 243. It's medium strength. This is an upgrade from a 242 because you got two things. It's 360 degree working temperature instead of 300, and it's oil resistant. So that means when you go to put your bolt on your Harley, like on your cam cover, or especially your primary hardware over here on the other side that I can't get to right now. The famous primary bolts over here that always got oil in there and they always loose and fall out. You put this stuff in there to hold it in, and the oil, this will still work through light oil. Whereas regular thread locker does not work on oil. So to make it hold better, I got red, because it's the same thing. It has oil wicking, 360 degree temperature. So if you want a little more holding power in your primary, you put red Loctite on it. If you want less, you put this. But you can also use this on everything else too. So for standard bolts, I'll use up this bottle here, and then I'll switch over to this one for everything, because almost everything you touch on a Harley's got oil residue on it, chemical cleaning stuff, whatever. This will work through that. So this is a little bit better Loctites, so that's why I use this. Now I could not find any kind of holding power on how much power this got to hold. They have a bunch of torque, stuff like that, I don't know. Okay, this one has an industrial number I found finally on a data sheet. This has 1300 psi strength. So that means when you Loctite something together, it takes 1300 psi resistance before you pop it. So that's fairly decent. So that's that one. That's those. Okay, these are 290, which is our capillary stuff, our old stuff. This is thinner, so it'll seep in easier. The new one, now this is 300 degree working temperature, which is not that high. This one here is the new one. It's wicking grade. See how it says wicking on it. It does not say wicking on tight bolts because it is thick. It's thicker. It's also good to 450 degrees, which is really nice. So now on these cases like this over here, if they get loose in here, if it has a big ass void in there, I use the thick stuff. If it's something I can barely even see or barely get to, I'll use the thin stuff. But pretty much I'm going to use this thick stuff on everything, because it's good to 450 degrees. And I couldn't find any actual holding amount of tensile strength for these two items, but I'm assuming this newer one might be a little bit better than this one, but it should be at least the same. The 290 here is a military grade, so it's got stuff that makes it up to military spec, which means it's a pretty good product, but once again, it doesn't really tell me what that means. So, whoopee. So, old stuff, new stuff. We'll probably still keep some of this laying around, like I said, for thin stuff, but mainly, pretty much I think we're going to be going to this one. So, that's the difference on those ones. So you get over in your retaining compounds. The old retaining compound used to be 640, and it had different gap filler features and different heat temperatures. So I think it was good at 350, I think also, same on that. These two here though are, will take oil. See, I got oil written on them. So they will take oil. So you can put this on dirty Harley parts. Looks something like this. Like that sleeve that spins on the kit race right here, it's loose. You put a little bit of this on there, and that will stick the piss out of that thing. Now, my old 640 had 3,000 pound holding power, 3,200 I think. Now on these data sheets over here, if you can read this stuff, I'll blow it up real big for you. So you can save these features here if you want. This has the different Loctites, all your different holding specs. The underlying stuff is important. So these are all the different grades. So you can freeze frame this stuff and look it over. And if you search long enough, you can find it online on what this stuff means. So here's this one. So once this gives you more modern numbers looking for stuff. So this one here had the 290 in there, I think. So this is your capillary stuff. So I circle the Loctites that I actually use. So these are the ones here. So hopefully this stuff will give you something to look at, and you can identify something you need. So this one here is our 638. Here's a 641, which is close to our 640, but a little bit different. But you can see that's a 300 degree temperature. This one's only 1700 psi. That's terrible. Like I said, mine's the 640 was higher. It's sleeve retainer. It was made to hold sleeves inside of cylinders. So that is what it was made for originally. Oop, missed a line. No, that's not much. Well, semi-important, not much over there. So it talks all about your different gaps. You fill all kind of stuff. So this is the important one here. It actually gives you real information on it. So once again, you just go down the list, and there we get everything in there. And you can see the ones I circled here, the ones I'm using. So those are the important ones. Like you go across, you can see the highlights where I got pressures and stuff on there. So anyway, that's how all this works, and gives you a good idea. So the 640 was way down here, sleeve retainer. So it had 4 thou gap filling capacity. That was 30 thou gap for me. It works up to 30. 3,200 pound holding power, 350 temperature. The curing is slow cure, so it doesn't cure right away. So if you, somewhere in there, they gave you time for curing. Here it is right here, 1 hour. Believe me, when that thing's pressing in, it's locking up as you're pushing the part in. It ain't got no hour, it's seconds. If you put a load on Loctite, it locks up on you, and that's how it is. I don't care what they say. So this one here's the new ones up over here that we're using. So you see we got 4,000 holding power and 4,500 holding power. We got 10 thou gap fill and 15 thou gap fill. And then we also had a temperature, same 350. So that's these ones over here. So my old one was 3,200 psi, 4 thou gap. So the upgrade is we went to a 4,000 psi that will fill a 15 thou gap, and it's oil resistant. Really good. This one here is max holding power. It's 4,500 pound tensile, 10 thou gap, and it's oil resistant also. So the reason I got two different ones of these, I just experiment with them and see which one's which. This one has a higher gap filling capacity than this one, so I wasn't sure what the 640 was at the time because I thought it was like 20 thou filler gap. That's why I was worried about this one only being 10. It turns out they say it's only 4 thou, so whatever. So probably I don't really need this 4,000 pound one. I'll probably just switch to 4,500 and call it done. So 638 is probably be a little better than the 680, but they're both a lot better than the old sleeve retainer was. So if you want something to hold on like this thing that doesn't want to come off again, you put this. If you want to be able to take it off easier, use the red. It'll be a little bit easier to get on and off. But this one here, you can see how it's spinning, so it's probably used up. It's loose. Definitely want to use a retaining compound to hold that one. So anyway, there's your differences there. So it's different. Now, one thing about Loctite, I was worried about this stuff being copied, fake shit, because the internet's all full of fake crap. So, the test on Loctite is you put it on a piece of metal and you let it sit. Genuine Loctite does not settle. Fake stuff will run down the side. These are wicking grades, so you expect some movement down the side. So the blue over here was this one here, 243. Those are two different bottles because I got light bottle, new, old style, new style. So I did this one twice because I screwed up, and then the last one's there. So all three of these appear to be holding up pretty good. So I would say that these are both genuine. So there's two different labels that are genuine. Of course, they fake everything, so you can't tell. Now, when I'm looking for Loctite, I go online. I'm cheap. So I search everything I can think of: eBay, Amazon, anything that anybody holds Loctite, MSC Industrial Supplies, Zorro, you name it. I'm looking on it, trying to find the cheapest stuff. And the thing is, you find some stuff that's really, really cheap. And most Loctite is coming out of Indonesia, a place I don't trust very much. So I was worried about some of that. This one here came out of India, I think. So I was worried about that. These older bottles, a lot of stuff I got off of eBay, off of old inventory sales. People that buy up old inventory industrial stuff and sell it. So I'm pretty sure that's original stuff. So you pay slightly more money for some of that over the stuff you buy that's from India. Like I said, they got these new style labels that I don't trust. They look fake as hell to me. This is the old style. I like what they got writing on it. So this just looks 100% fake to me, but it seems to be all right because it's Loctite's tested to do that. It's passing it. So there you go. So now we got our red one, we got green, and this is a blue. I don't know which one this was over here. I forget. One of the greens. I think this was the 290, the old one. So this is the thin one. See how thin it is? So I think this is the pecking order. We had this one here. These two here were over here in that order. Then we had the red one was next to that one. And then we have greens. So these are greens. So one of those is not a wicking. So this is 294. I don't remember. I mixed these up. I went low number first. So 290, 638, and 680. So these are not wicking grades. This one is. So these are wicking grades. So this bottle here appears to be running, which is a 680. Just a 4,000 pound tinsel. That one appears to be going down fairly far. Now this has been sitting for about an hour, hour and a half, so it's not like I just put it up here. So this one here in the new bottle is that one. So that is running. Now the one they showed on the internet, it ran way down. And I didn't say how long it took to run down, but so I'm thinking that's probably okay. You have to look at the viscosity, what these things are. They tell you, and if you look on the spec sheet, they give you viscosity numbers. It's not actually a viscosity number though, it's some other way of measuring stuff, I don't know. So it's a different number. So I have to look to see what the numbers are. But obviously this one here was failing. The red one here was coming down a little bit, but not too bad. The 638 didn't move, obviously. The 294, which is our thick stuff here, looks like it ran just a tick, but maybe I had these two reversed. I don't remember. Maybe this was the first one I did. I don't remember. So one's obviously a little thicker than the other, and obviously the 290 super capillary stuff really runs off. But this one here is a wicking grade or not? This one's a wicking grade, 294, and that's showing that it's moving down the hill a little bit, so it's probably there. So the only one that really looks, these two here are the ones that are kind of questionable, these two, because they are not wicking grade and they obviously puddle down a little bit. You see how the blue stayed nice and thick. Now they showed when you had fake stuff, it had about 30% less holding power than the real stuff. That's what they were showing. So anyway, these two here, they ran quite a bit. Now, after about 20 minutes, they were still pretty high up, not coming down. So the last hour, the extra hour of time of sitting, they've now settled down a little bit. Obviously, these blue ones are not moving at all. So these two being non-wicking grades, these two here are the ones that are unknown. So, but anyway, like I said, that's until I got a real one to try it next to. I don't know if that's what you're going to expect to see or not expect to see. But. So these two are unknown. These three look good. These two look good. So there you go. Big time Loctite test. I got noise back there. Air leaks. One means I got to work around here. So I got a bunch of new airline fittings. Yeah. Let's see. This is April something. Middle of April. I ordered these in December. Just got them. Supply chain issues. Yeah. Let me guess. Made in China? Oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh, what a shocker. Oh, it's made in China. Yeah, good old American company. Yeah, Milton. American made. Yeah, sure. Sure it is. I believe that. So this is Milton. Heavy duty airflow here. These are regular ones up here. These are old ones down here. So there is your normal flow. And these are high flow. High flow. Yeah. Workbench space sucks around here. There you go. Is there a difference in those two? Yeah, look at that. Just slightly. That's probably going to be, let's see, it's double the size, so that's 4 times the flow. So when you put that in there, that'll empty out that air tank real fast. So I give me more power to my air tools around here. Of course, you have to take the fittings off of here and swap them out. Now this is the other flow they have, which is red, and you can see how red is bigger than the old style steel ones here that Dad had. So these ones here are, I don't know, 40 years old. So these are the red ones are the new flow ones they make, and purple is the high flow. That's on the Melton stuff. Now I had some red around here somewhere, I thought. I don't know, but you can see all the different steel ones I've had over the years. They're just all different vendors. They're all about the same. See, they're all the same hole size. So we're going to be swapping out our fittings to high flow. So, high flow, high flow, high flow. And one thing about this high flow fitting, you can put a low flow one in there. It still works. But you can't put the other side in. It don't work that way. Alright, what do you get left off? I got left off on something. Sealers. Okay, semi-lube. We use Torco semi-lube. I did a 30-year test on a knucklehead motor. It passed. It was still on the motor after 30 years. Dad did a motor set on a bench for a while. So, still had it in the motor when we took it up. Did not move. Still on the cylinder, still on the crank pin, still on everything it was put on. 30 years, didn't move. Good stuff. Okay, this is a 3-bond. 1184. This is the stuff I use for case halves. Thick stuff. Gasket cinch is what I use on thin stuff. This stuff's getting hard to come by. And damn, they just doubled the price on this crap too. Now these are up to like almost 20 bucks a bottle now. Ridiculous. So these are over 20 now. They used to be 10. So this is what I put on gaskets. So you use a gasket board like this, and you smear it on the gasket. You flip it over, smear it on the gasket. You hang it somewhere, like on a foot peg. And then you coat the 2 sides that it goes on. Like if you're doing a cam cover, you do the cam cover, and you do the motor side. You let it sit for about 5 minutes. Then you tack the gasket on because it's tacky. And you put your part together. So when it dries, it's real thin. It's a rubber type material here. See how it breaks away? So it goes away if you rub on it. So all you gotta do is just rub on it with a rag or something. Like if you get on the outside of here, rub it on like that, boom, 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 it goes away. If it gets in the side of the motor, it just tears up and goes away. No big deal. Okay, this stuff here is thicker. So this we put on the case house between here. Primary covers, you know, around this area here if you're trying to put a seal on that. Wherever there's something thick. You know, you can see how it dries right here. It's got these dingleberries hanging up the side here. There's not much on here, but anyway, it's not silicone. Silicone does not go away. So I can't hold it in my hand. I need someone to hold my camera for me for a minute. Well, let me use Mr. Tripod. Alright, so this stuff here is gray shit. See, it's got some viscosity to it. When it dries up, it has this stuff here. And like gasket cinch, if you rub on this a little bit, it'll break up and go away. So it doesn't eat up, doesn't plug up your motor too bad. So here's older stuff in here. So you can wipe it off and it doesn't plug up stuff. Unless you just physically just dump it inside the oil gallery, it'll plug it up. But if it just has a piece of crap floating around, it breaks up. Silicone, what it does is it just makes long stringy messes. It stretches out. Pretty much goes wherever you don't want it to be and it stays there. If it gets inside of an oil pump, it doesn't really chew up. It just plugs up the gears. It can shear keys off. Goes in oil galleries. It plugs up the oil flow. Nothing but problems with silicone. I hate it. So I don't use it. So there you go. Different stuff. For greases, I use for car stuff. I used to use some camping crap. Dad, I think, had it. The best grease I got is the Tribodon, which is buried way back in there. The second best grease is Bill Ray. It's really good stuff. Third best is Maxima. So the Maxima is probably below the Champion's Choice. So I like their oil really much, but their grease is kind of shitty, or not as good. The Bill Ray is real good stuff. It's got kind of a greenish tint to it. It's inside of here. So it's got that dark greenish color to it. It's real sticky, works real good. So I like it. Tribodon, it's back there somewhere. Yeah, it's that black container way in the back. Anyway, it's expensive stuff. You take the cost of any grease you can buy out there and you triple the price, that's Tribodon. Extremely expensive. There. Footstep. 4-speed Datsun tranny. Yep. Blew a lot of them up in years ago. So here's your Tribodon. So this is the greenish tint looking stuff. See how sticky it is. This has probably got blue junk in it now. Yep. Anti-seize. Tribodon Tri-X. That's $360 for that, for one of these. Trimex is $360. $360 for that container. I get the little half-size ones that are half the cost. They have a 2X one, which is half the price of that one. So this is the gray stuff. Uh-oh, I got some contaminated stuff in there. What happened there? It looks like I got some blue grease mixed on top of my Tribodon. Huh, what did I do that for? Anyway, this is really, I almost had some on my finger, I guess. So this is some real high graphite, molybdenum disulfate in there. And this is really good stuff. Super high cling. And it stays put. I'll put a lid on in a minute. So I put that on stuff I care about. Racing parts, clutch hubs, racing bearings. Stuff that I really want to make it low drag and a really good lubricant. You put that on it. So anyway, those are my different chemicals and stuff. So anyway, there's your different Loctite stuff on here going on. So, oh well, play around, see what you like. That's what I use. So anyway, there's my test. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, that's it for that.